we've looked before at how the compound interest formula is built using an example, and it contains several numbers. Let us take another look at it again, but this time let's minimize how much numbers we use and just stick to letters to make it more general. Alright, so we're saying that when you make an investment and are paid interest as compound interest, what happens is that you make an investment by putting a certain amount of money into an account, and that money is called the principal, which we call P. Now, the amount of money you have after you get your first payment of interest is the amount is equal to what you had before plus the interest. Now that interest you receive is calculated by taking that P multiplied by the rate of interest, which we call R, divided by 100, the rate in percentage. If it was, say, 10%, it would be P times 10 over 100. If it's 5%, it would be P times 5 over 100, and so on. Alright? So that's the interest that you get. Now, all of that is equal to, let's factorize, put P outside the bracket. What do we have here? We're going to have P into P goes one time, or we could add and say P multiplied by whatever we're going to be putting here. P multiplied by this would give us P. So what should we put there? It is, of course, the number 1 plus. Then we say P multiplied by whatever we're going to put here will be P times R over 100. So what do we put here? It's of course going to be R over 100. Alright? Let's put that in red. The rate over 100. Nice. So that's the amount of money we have upon our first payment. Now, let's call that A1. The amount of money we have upon our second payment is how much? It's A2 is equal to, alright, how much money did we have just before the first payment was made? That money was, let's put this P in blue, P, no, let's put it in black. It was P 1 plus R over 100. That is what we had a while ago, just before we got paid in interest. How much interest do we get? It's plus, and then how it's calculated, how the interest is calculated, is the P, the same money, 1 plus R over 100, the same money we had just before payment of the new interest, multiplied by that R over 100. You multiply by the rate over 100. Alright? And then we say, what is that equal to? Alright, notice you have some common factors here. We have a p times something here and a p times that thing here. So what are the common factors? The common factor is p times 1 plus r over 100, because you see it here again, p times 1 plus r over 100. So it's similar to you saying you had x plus x times r over 100. You see that? It's a similar thing like that. And we put x outside the bracket and say 1 plus, not bother with the second one, 1 plus r over 100. That's what you would have if it was x. Now we're saying that what we see here as x is similar to the p plus 1 plus r over 100. So we're going to put all that p plus 1 plus r over, all of that p 1 plus r over 100 down outside a bracket, just like how we put x down outside a bracket here. So let's do that. Alright, so we say p times 1 plus r over 100, and our new bracket, is 1. Alright, because p times 1 plus r over 100, if you multiply it by what is inside this bracket, you would get back this if you multiply it by 1. So plus the same plus here, this is what I put here, then p 1 plus r over 100 multiplied by what you're going to put here just before you close the bracket will give you all of this here. Alright, so what it is r over 100 that you would put right here. You see that? But then you realize that what you have here is 1 plus r over 100 multiplied by 1 plus r over 100, which is the same as what? It's the same as 1 plus r over 100 squared. So you have p multiplied by 1 plus r over 100 squared. That is what you have upon your second payment of interest, the amount of money you have. Alright, so let's just do a little thing here. Erase this part and put it in the condensed form, p plus r over 100 squared. Alright, now question, how much money do you have? What is the amount after you receive your third payment? We call it A3. Now just before you receive your first payment, how much money did you have? The money you had was p 1 plus r over 100 squared, just before you receive your third payment. Now when you were receiving your third payment, the bank had this money in your account and they calculated the interest. The interest added was that money that you had a while ago, p 1 plus r over 100 squared, Then they multiply it by the rate over 100. Alright, so they took the money you have and added the interest, and the interest was the money you had multiplied by the rate over 100. Alright, so let's see what happens in this case. Let's factorize. What's the common factor here? Just as what happened earlier, we had before, the common factor was p, 1 plus r over 100. Now the common factor is p, 1 plus r over 100 squared. Because we see it here again, p, 1 plus r over 100 squared. Alright? So let's factor that out. What you have here is p, 1 plus r over 100 squared. Let's take our bracket, add, and we're going to close bracket. P, 1 plus r over 100 squared into p, 1 plus r over 100 squared goes one time. Alright? Or you could say p, 1 plus r over 100 squared multiplied by 1. If you open back the bracket, will give you this, p, 1 plus r over 100 squared. Alright, plus, let me remove the plus sign from here, put it further to the left so I have more space in here to write. Now, p, 1 plus r over 100 squared into p, 1 plus r over 100 squared by r over 100 goes how many times? It goes r over 100. Alright, I didn't need the bracket all the way out here. Let me put it a little closer. Alright, so that's what you have. Or you could have said p times r times 1 plus r over 100 squared multiplied by this is going to give you this, p times r over 100 squared times r over 100. Alright, if you carefully follow the factorization here, this is what you have. But guess what? You notice we have a 1 plus r over 100 squared multiplied by 1 plus r over 100. So what does that amount to? It amounts to p 1 plus r over 100 squared multiplied by 1 plus r over 100 gives you 1 plus r over 100 cube. So this is the amount of money you have upon your third payment. Now, if you should continue this to find how much money you have upon your fourth payment, it is going to be p 1 plus r over 100 to the power of 4. And then if you go again to find how much money you have after your fifth payment, is going to be p 1 plus r over 100 to the power of 5. And if you go do it again to find out how much money you have after your sixth interest payment, is going to be p 1 plus r over 100 to the power of 6. So generally, after your nth payment, whatever n is, after that payment, the amount you have after n payments is going to be the principal you invested first, 1 plus r over 100 to the power of n. That is what you're going to have. So this is the general compound interest formula. So we can remove all these things and write down our compound interest formula. The amount of money you have after you get a certain number of payments, let's call it n, is P 1 plus R over 100 to the power of n. So that is your formula, your compound interest formula. All right, and we can box it up, making it look special. So this is what we have as our big compound interest formula. All right, good. So we'll continue next time in another video, so I will see you then.